Hi Scorpios, how we doing today? All right, we're going to be doing your weekly from August 10th to the 16th. Get an idea what's going on. We're using the Fado and Right this week. All right, you ready? All right, what do we got going on for the beautiful Scorpios? I'm not taking all that. So, yep, if it wants to come out, it'll come out. There we go. Freedom and sacrifice. That one's a tough one. It's kind of like, what are you willing to sacrifice for your freedom? And what part of your freedom are you willing to sacrifice? So it's kind of definitely a contemplation card. I don't know if you can see this beautiful moon in her forehead. You know, I think it's a week to think and ponder about what it is you have to sacrifice or what part of your freedom you need to sacrifice to maybe achieve a goal, to get a relationship, to move forward, whatever it is for your situation. 28 might be important to you. You add those together and it's a 10. So it's like some kind of new cycle, some kind of change. But, maybe you're having to sacrifice some freedom. Or maybe you're needing to let go of something. It's kind of painful, but you feel like it's the only way it's really going to tip the scale. All right, what do we have going on for our beautiful Scorpios? This could be sacrificing, part of your ego. It could be sacrificing really anything. Might be cutting something, say your day is really super, super busy. You might have to cut something out of that day. You are not talking right now. All the cards are coming out. I definitely see some movement though. Maybe you're going a little too hard. You know, you're a little stubborn right now with that Emperor. Could be dealing with something with somebody that's super stubborn. We do have the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like the tides have changed. It's kind of like letting go of something or maybe not having such um, a stubborn attitude about something starts to turn things more in your favor. And I also feel like you need to be a little bit more grounded. He's sitting on this beautiful tree and those roots are connected, but they're not fully in that ground quite yet. So mission popping out. It's like if you're really wanting to create something, you're gonna have to, I feel like, maybe let go of an ego, maybe let go of a thought process, or just let go of control of something in order to kind of get things to go a little bit more in your favor, especially if it's something that you desire created. And this might have something to do with a marriage, a celebration, some kind of union that you feel like is shutting you out in a way. And I feel like you need to be a little bit more open hearted when it comes to that situation. You could be dealing with a Cancer, really anything, Gemini, Aries, really any energy. Oops, I'm not taking all that. Give me one. Thank you. I feel like you've been kind of stuck in your head, kind of go round and round and round. And, you know, this might be, I've been talking a lot about reflection. I feel like this week's kind of a reflective week. You know, it's kind of like looking at yourself in the mirror and, maybe you're going too hard or you're stuck in your head, you're feeling trapped in some way, shape, or form, when really you're truly free. You really just have to be a little bit more clear with your intentions. And maybe some of that you need to sacrifice is that own ego death, especially with the chariot. It's like, maybe you need to push past some of that energy and have the willpower to let it go. And I feel like have a little bit more fun in your life really kind of changes the tides of things. It spins that wheel a little bit more. And in this specific deck, she's in the water. She's hopping the water with that wheel. So I also feel like it's also about dealing with those emotions. But whatever you're trying to create, I feel like you're moving towards that desire. It's like having a goal and, making your way through it. And it's really interesting that there is a lot of water in this deck. But I don't know if you can notice, but the trees are reflected back in the water. My focus is awful today, so I don't know if you can tell. It's like reflecting that energy back out. But there's something you need to sacrifice in order to get that. And it requires moving. And it requires moving over obstacles. So I feel like you're gaining some momentum. You're really just having a hard time balancing out getting there type of energy. You know, but a lot of it has to do with you maybe being stuck in your own ways. And I feel like it might be just that ego death that you need to sacrifice and you need to let go. Maybe you need to embrace your more soft, sensitive side. And that might be a choice that you're going to have to make, especially when it comes to love. You know, the Six of Swords been coming out a lot. There's that Justice again, balancing it out. Might be dealing with the Libra too. Or you got it somewhere in your charts. But I really feel like in order to have a little bit more freedom, there's something you're going to have to sacrifice within yourself, or you're something that you're going to have to let go of. And I think part of it's that stubborn energy that you need to push past, especially with that chariot being there, in order to kind of push the will a little bit in your favor. And I feel like that's being more open, more joyful, more playful, more loving. And that's going to start to really create the world that you're a little bit more passionate about. But it really starts with you allowing yourself to get out of your head and not feeling so trapped all the time and just really embracing the love that you're being shown or the love that's being offered and the love that you have there. And that's what's going to get you to move, to start on your own path, whatever that is for you. So I feel like it's going to be a week of kind of letting go of your ego, letting go of your stubbornness. And that might be what you need to sacrifice this week, and I feel like it brings you some clarity and truth in any kind of situation. All right, now we're moving on to our little love portion. I don't know if we can call it love, but we'll see what happens. All right, what do we got going on for our beautiful Scorpios? One more? All right. What can you tell me for those Scorpios? Scorpios, like, you got a lot. So you might be a little career focused. And that might be putting some distance in between you guys. Or you're dealing with somebody that is focusing on their own career and that's putting a little bit of distance. I feel like you got comfortable And then we have separation on the end. I feel like a lot of this is about timing. It's about, maybe it's possible that you're focused on your career and you're creating distance between somebody, because you got comfortable. And whenever I see a mirror, it's always that reflection back. Whenever I see the hourglass or the clocks, it's always a timing issue, And I feel like whoever you're thinking about is like maybe that's what they're thinking about is that separation. Hmm, interesting. I like it. So, but I do think it's something you need to be aware of. Hmm, might be somebody that you need to put a little distance between. If this isn't somebody you haven't met, I feel like they are focused on career and they might be at a distance. And that might be something that you need to get comfortable with. And I can also talk about freedom and sacrifice too. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice for that? I think a lot of it's too also, what are you willing to sacrifice to get a little bit of freedom? What do we have going on for the, it already came out. Yeah. Okay. So these are my hard truths. We have desperate. Most situations aren't as dire as they first appear to be. I can't talk today. Most situations aren't as dire as they first appear to be. Take time to make thoughtful decisions. There's no reason to rush and always give yourself grace. So take your time to make a decision. And then we have boundaries. This opportunity will constantly push you to compromise your boundaries. Maintain and respect your limits to protect your well being while also being the example of strength. So you might need to learn how to set some boundaries for you or yourself. I think you just all make it work by. That's all right. All right, Scorpios, that's what I have for you this week, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.